Hello, hello. I'm Sheri from the Papercrafters Workshop, and I'm so excited to be here today to introduce to you my new collection with Spellbinders called We All Have Baggage. The last few years have been hard for so many, but crafting is a venue that allows people to de-stress and find their way and connect with others. As an independent store owner, I have seen it time and time again with our crafty community. People make things together, get inspired by each other, and whether it's online or in person, they find ways to connect. So that's where the idea for this collection came from. Just as a reminder that yes, we all have baggage. We all have things that we are carrying that others may not even know about, but we are not alone. We can lean on our fellow crafters. We can help our fellow crafters out and lighten the load to make things easier for someone else. This collection includes 2 stamp and die sets, 2 standalone die sets, and a coordinating sentiment stamp set that was designed by Hero Arts. So this is a true collaboration, both Spellbinders and Hero Arts, and these wonderful creations. Let's take a look. The first item in this collection is called the Retro Suitcase and Sentiments Stamp and Die Set. It comes with all the pieces you need to make this beautiful suitcase, this retro suitcase with its buckles and its straps and all of those travel stickers, as well as a stamp set to create those icons and some wonderful encouraging sentiments to go along with it. The base construction for the suitcase is made up of 2 different dies. There is the main piece here that has a beautiful stitched edge around all of the sides. That creates both the base as well as the outer trim. To make the trim, you simply insert this extra little frame piece and use a little bit of Best Ever Craft tape to just hold it together as you're die cutting. What you will notice about all of the dies in this collection is that they were designed specifically to work in the Scout die cutting machine. I really wanted to make sure that this was accessible to as many people as possible. So whether you have the tiny little Scout for your die cutting all the way up to a Platinum 6 or a Platinum, you can create with all of these wonderful dies. To continue constructing your suitcase, there are 3 pieces for the handle. There is this little piece here that has the base and 2 posts and 2 little balls on the end. Those little balls are where you're going to put your liquid glue when you go to attach the handle piece on top of it. It really just made it a lot easier to line things up and not worry about having too much glue oozing out of all of the places. We finish it off with a little handle grip, as I call it, and that layers on top of the handle to just give a decorative piece. Now you don't need to use that, but I like to coordinate that with my straps or my outer trim from a color standpoint and have a lot of fun with it. Let's take a look at some of these pieces here. So here is that base piece with the stitched edging all around, so you could use it on its own, or you could layer on that trim on top. And then we have our base handle with the posts. These little posts tend to be a little bit delicate, so just to give it some extra reinforcement, I recommend that you cut 2 pieces of those and then stack them together just to give it a little bit more strength and stability. There is the handle, and then here is the handle grip. And like I said, I like to coordinate my colors, and honestly, that is the hardest thing about creating with this collection is deciding what colors you're going to use and how you're going to mix and match it. Next up, we have a number of pieces to further embellish the suitcase. We're going to start off here with these corner pieces. That is made out of 2 individual dies. There is this piece here, which if you look at it really, really closely, it's got 2 little dots. Those are meant to replicate the rivets in the corner bracket, as I call it. And then there is another solid piece that coordinates with it to provide the contrast underneath so that you've got 2 different colors. With these, you will need to cut 4 of each. So I have cut these little guys here. 1, 2, 3, and hiding under here is number 4. And then I have cut them again, the solid piece out of white. 1, 2, oops, upside down. 3 and 4. Those go on each of the 4 corners. There is now the strap. So you've got the 1 strap die that you will cut 2 times. Again, it's got beautiful stitched edging. It's got 3 little buckle holes, and you're going to cut 2 of those. I've just cut them out of white to give it some contrast to our darker colors here. There we go. And the buckles. So I actually cut the buckles out of some brushed gold cardstock from the Treasured Cardstock collection. And I used a little bit of Spellbinders liner sheet on the back so that when I go to stick these really delicate pieces down, and it's not focusing, there we go, then it'll stick a lot easier and I don't have to worry about getting glue everywhere. That there is the buckle piece. So every time you cut the buckle, you're going to want to cut it twice. To finish things off, we do have the travel stickers, and these icons are meant to represent all the different places that we go to alleviate stress, to find some peace. So there's the sun, there is a smiley face for happiness, there's a yin-yang symbol, a peace symbol, and then there is also a heart and a lotus flower and some little stars. So I have put some of them on the dies, which I will bring out now. There is the 2 little tags, so adorable. And then the coordinating dies to go with those icon stamp sets. So there's a large circle that's got kind of a wavy postage edge to it. There is a solid circle, and there is a stitched square. This here is the stamp set. So it's got all of those icons, and it's got some wonderful sentiments. Friends help friends carry their baggage. Friends and laughter help lighten the load. We've all got baggage. Together we could carry it. Sometimes we carry a lot. Let me help you. And it's okay. We all have baggage. So that comes right in your set with the die. There is one last little piece that I'm going to share, and that is this tiny little loop. I don't even know if you can see it there on my hand. That is to attach your tag to your suitcase, and I've just cut it as a little piece here. Now let me show you how this all goes together. I'm going to put the dies away and we'll just focus on our pattern pieces and see how this all goes together. It really goes together quite quickly, and it's very therapeutic. It's got a lot of repetitive steps with the corners and the straps, and that is another way that you can help relieve your own stress when you're creating. Those repetitive motions, those repeated steps almost help you create a Zen-like feeling, a feeling of meditation that will help you relieve stress as you are creating for someone else. All right, so now we have all of our pieces. The dies are out of the way, and I always start with the base, and just by using a little bit of glue, I will attach this frame. I will attach this frame to the base of my suitcase. So here we are with all of our dies put away and our pieces left in front of us. And I always start with the base of the suitcase just by using a little bit of liquid glue and attaching the frame to the base. Because we've cut it from the same piece, it's all going to be matched very easily. I line up my corners and I build these all together. And if you use a matte glue, even if a little bit of that glue seeps out, it's going to dry nice and clear. So that is ready to go. And I'm going to just set that off to the side so that it can set a little bit while I build my corners. So I always do my corners as the first embellishment to my suitcase. And I just find that that helps me to get everything lined up the way it's supposed to, so that when I go to put my straps on, my handle on, it helps me to center everything in place. And you can just kind of zhuzh those together so that they all line up. All right, the next one. Nice meditative, repetitive steps that really become routine. And if you do your die cutting ahead of time and you want to just assemble, this is a great task to do in front of the TV or put your favorite movie on. Or maybe if you are video cropping with a friend, this is a very easy step that you can do while you're chatting and connecting, talking about your day and lightening each other's stressful load. Because we all have those days where we just want to talk to our crafty friends and make pretty things. So I'm just lining them up. And one more to go, popping those little holes out. These pointy tweezers from Spellbinders is very helpful. I found that I used them an awful lot while I was making all my samples. And it just helps give you a little extra grip. All right, so now these can go onto our base. Oops, if we don't drop them. So they just line up right at the corner. And I just give it a little push, a little squeeze, and they're all starting to line up there. Okay. Number 3. And these corners are really great too, that if you don't get that frame perfectly straight, it can hide any little imperfections on the corners that you may need to hide. All right, so now our suitcase is been constructed. We've got our little brackets on the side, and at this point it does not matter which is the top and which is the bottom. Next, what I do is I put on the straps. The straps, I actually use the stitching and go usually about to the second or maybe even the third little stitch mark to guide me as to where to put the strap. The strap is a little bit longer than the suitcase is tall, so I always try to line up the bottom and have the top stick over just a little bit. We'll let it hold. Get that in place and then do the second one. Just a little bit of glue will do ya. Just like so. And it's starting to come together. Next, what I will do, I'm going to leave the buckles till the end. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to glue these two pieces together. Like I said, it just helps with your stability and giving your handle a little bit more strength on those delicate posts. This, if you wanted to, you could also just on one layer. The top layer, you could put some liner sheet if you didn't want to glue it. And then this is where I will now put just a little bit of glue on those balls so that I can drop my handle into place, just like so. Adjust it so you don't see those balls, and then finish off with your handle grip. This can now go in behind, so you're going to put glue on the base of that handle, and it's going to go in behind your suitcase. So just a little bit along there. Whoops. And now you can center it and slide it in between your two straps. So even if your straps are a little bit off, if your handle is centered in between, then it's going to visually look like everything is the way it's supposed to be. All right, I'm going to finish with my buckles. Because I've got the liner sheet behind, they are already sticky. Get rid of that center piece. And I tend to aim for the second hole, totally up to you. But now they're already into place. And my second one into place. Then you can decide where you want your travel stickers. You can put them wherever you want. I'm not going to glue these down because I'm not quite sure where I want these yet. If you want it to look like it's tucked underneath, you could always just trim the sticker so that it fits. And then let me show you this cute little loop for your tag. It's going to be hard to show on camera, but it's got a little bit of a slit so that you can wrap it around your handle. And then I'm going to grab the lotus flower tag here. Just a tiny bit of glue. I'm going to slide it up here and add one little dab of glue to hold that loop into place. So there you go. And that is how you construct the retro suitcase. Let me show you a couple samples that I've made. You can have an awful lot of fun personalizing this, changing things up. So here is one of the first cards that I made with this set. And you can see here I've trimmed those travel circles, tucked things under to make it really look like one of those retro suitcases that have those stickers all over the place. This one here I put on a landscape card with a nice brick background, and you can even stamp directly onto the suitcase. It doesn't even have to be a sticker if you don't want it to. You can really have a lot of fun with the color combinations, make it masculine, make it feminine, do whatever you wish. Here I did not, here I just did some ink blending and really kept it simple with just that little tag, and you can use the stamps around the suitcase as well. You can get out your stencils. You can make it a gift card holder. You can really personalize it and change it for every different person you want to send this to. And then if you want, if maybe you don't even want to use the suitcase, you can go ahead and use the sticker stamps on their own and create a random stamp background, put your sentiment, and really just send those positive and encouraging messages to someone who may need it. So that is the Retro Suitcase and Sentiment set. The next two sets are standalone die sets, and I'm going to start with the rolling Craft Tote. I am obsessed with this rolling Craft Tote. It is so iconic of so many of our crafters being able to travel and connect and get both that social time, that de-stress time, that time away. And I really love how the design team pulled out all the stops on this. There is also two options for your handle, so you can have it short and stout so that it looks like the rolling tote is standing still. Or you have an extended one and you can turn it on a jaunty angle so that it looks like your craft tote is rolling along in action. There are some great elements on the die set that will help you assemble these. So this is your base piece. This is the base of the main foundation piece of your rolling tote, and it has beautiful etched lines there to help you line up the subsequent pieces. Again, I've had a lot of fun playing with colors and decided to do a yellow rolling tote this time. I'll show you some of the different color combinations I've done a little bit. Again, you can see those etched lines there that will help you to line up. See if I can get the lighting right. Line up your pieces. There is a front panel. This piece here has two little etched lines that will help you line up your straps, your closure straps here. I'll show you that in just a little bit. That is this piece here. We've got a little, I call it a lid or a flap for the top, and it's got nice stitched edging. That goes on there to help close up your tote. And then there are two pockets that one attaches on the front like so, and one attaches on the side. Both of them have lovely stitched elements. This more square looking one goes on the front of your tote. It's got a little rectangle on the top that goes towards the top for a little plaque or buckle. And then there is this second piece, more like a little angled rectangle, that is your side pocket. Now, these pockets actually have two pieces for each one. There is the stitched part, and then there is what I call the shadow piece. It's almost like the gusset on your pocket. So again, there is a large one and a small one. And as long as you are matching your diagonals, the diagonals go on the bottom of each of these pieces, it becomes very easy to assemble. So there is my stitched pocket. And I tend to do my shadow piece a little bit darker, but you could also do it lighter as long as you've got a contrast. I've also played with patterned paper and it turns out really, really cute. Okay, the next piece is this little strap here. And this is a very interesting looking die. So that's what the die looks like. In the center of this die is the top layer of your wheel that goes at the back here. So those will often come the same color because you'll be cutting it all at once, or you can simply cut it twice and use it in different ways or on different cards. So there's my little strap, and I'm going to pop out my little wheel. Keep that up here at the top so that I don't lose it. Next up is the handle. So because you've got your extended handle, which is a bit more on an angle, your collapsed handle, which is a little bit more straight, you have two pieces for that handle top. I have done that in blue as well. And again, you can have so much fun with your color combinations and mix and match your handles and do all kinds of fun things with those. So I've got those there. The handle itself, there are two different die sets or die pieces for that set. You have this piece first. It's got the little short, this is your base of your handle. So it's got the short base, it's got the tall base, and then included with this particular die is the second layer of your wheel. So that will go behind this little blue piece. So I did that one in a dark gray. You could do it in black. You could just do it in a contrasting color. So there's my extended handle. There's my collapsed handle. And there is my little wheel to go with that. The second part, the pull-out part of your handle looks like this. So you've got your short and your tall one for that as well. I've done that out of a lighter gray. I often will do it out of white. But again, have fun with it. Play with different colors and see what it turns out like. One last die in this set, there's a lot of great dies, but they all come together really, really easily, is this little piece here. So this is your wheel support and the base of your, the bottom of your rolling tote. It also has this little piece here, which is your label that goes on the front. So I've actually cut this twice. I've done it once in the dark gray. There's a little spot over here, a little etched line that will help you know where to put the wheel. And this V-shaped, very wide V-shaped piece goes behind the rolling tote and assembles very easily. And then just for fun, I die cut my label out of silver glitter just to give it a little bling on this rolling tote, because you can never have enough bling. So those are all the pieces for the rolling craft tote. Let's put the dies away and go ahead and assemble them. One little added tip before we assemble. When I store my dies on a magnetic sheet, I really try hard to keep my coordinating pieces together. So I've kept my tote base together, my pockets together, my handles together, and my base, of course, together. So that really just helps you remember how things go together, and you don't have to worry about what piece goes with which. So I'm going to start here with the base piece, and I'm going to layer this front panel right on top. And again, you can see a nice etched line in behind there that will help you to line it up. Make sure you get some glue in that pointy little corner. And this just layers right on top. That rounded corner lines up, this edge lines up, and it just gives it a little bit of extra dimension. The next piece to put on top is your lid or your flap. Now you have the option, if you would rather have your straps go underneath your lid, you could do that next, but I like to put it on top. So I always put that flap first, and then I add my straps. And again, that curved edge is going to mirror, and there are the little etched lines in there to help you guide it into place. Sometimes those little pointy ends stick up, so just give it a hold while the glue grabs it. I don't know if it's going to show well on camera, but there is an etched line here that is where your pocket is going to go. The bar for your strap is going to go below that etched line and is going to be hidden by the pocket. So as long as it's underneath that line, you are in a great spot. All right, let's assemble our pockets. So stitched square pocket goes on top of that. There is an etched line down the right-hand side to show you where that shadow or that gusset is going to live. And so you're going to line up the left-hand side, the top and bottom, and just slide that into spot. And then I like to put this edge right on the seam of that, that front panel, so that corner stays nice and defined. So this is going to come over here. Whoops. It can overlap the bottom a little bit, but you want to try and get as close to the close to that edge as possible. Look at how cute. It's really coming together. Okay, next up is the side pocket. Once again, this time the gusset is on the left-hand side, so you can line it up with that etched line, snug it into place, and this is going to go right here. There is a very clear line to help you know where to insert it. Line up your bottom, line up those etched edges, and that tote is really coming together. I'm going to go ahead and stick my little glitter piece down just so that it is in place and I don't lose it as I'm moving the other pieces around. Okay. Ooh, it's a nice little bit of bling. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to move my handle pieces out of the way and I am going to attach my base. So this base piece with the two little feet and the spot for the wheel actually goes behind your rolling tote. So I like to flip this over. There is a point here as that base piece angles, and that's going to mirror this piece here and line up right along the edge. So just a little bit of glue right along the edge, flip it over, and line everything up. They really made it foolproof so that that goes into place perfectly every single time. The last thing we're going to do for this piece is we are going to layer up our wheel and then pop it into place. I always tend to put the thin part of this open wheel on the right-hand side. And because that is not a symmetrical oval, you should be able to see how that all goes together. And then with this, you really just need a tiny little bit of glue. So I actually tend to put the glue on that base piece and pop this into place. Almost done. Okay, next up is the handle. So this tall base piece goes with the tall handle. The short base piece goes with the short handle. And then if you look very closely, there are the two handles. The one handle looks longer and a little bit more on an angle. That goes over here, and the more straight on handle goes with the short one. So this one here doesn't really have a foolproof guideline for where it goes. It really depends on how tall you want your handle to be. So what I tend to do is take this piece here. I will put a little bit of glue just on the ends. And then I will put it behind that darker piece and wiggle it around until I feel like it is nice and straight and even. And then you can finish it off with your handle. Like so. And that's all ready to go on your tote. The same goes for the little short one. Actually find the short one maybe a little bit easier to assemble just because you don't have as much flex. So just little dabs of glue on the ends. Tuck it behind your base. Give it a little squeeze and attach your handle. Your grip, I guess. This is all part of the handle. Okay, so now all you have to do is choose. And that will depend on your card design or just your personal preference for that day. With the short handle, I tend to start on the right-hand edge and scooch it to the center a little bit more, because when it's standing upright, I feel like if it's all the way over to the edge, it looks a little bit off. So I almost try to line up that post with the first strap. But for the more extended one, I do tend to go right to the edge. And again, there's just a little bit, this isn't a straight line, it's almost a bit of an angle, and that matches the angle here in your tote. So just a little bit of glue. And tuck it behind. And there's your rolling tote on its jaunty angle, rolling along to the next crop. Let me show you a couple of other samples that I've done. So I like playing with the color. Well, let me show you the extended one first. This one here is just with some nice blues. It's on that jaunty angle, but it just really takes over the focal point of the card. And I'll come back to this, but this is part of the Keep Calm sentiment set from Hero Arts that coordinates with this part of the collection. But then I like to play with color combinations. So here I've done some brighter colors and added the sentiment. And as you can see, these all work really well, both on portrait as well as a landscape cards. You can have even more fun with it by turning it into a slider. So I have done this one here and added some bling right here on the buckle as well, and created that really fun card. So that is the rolling craft tote, and you can have so much fun just playing and creating and making this the focal point of your card. Next up, we have the designer purse. The versatility and flexibility with this one is off the charts. There are so many different options, different ways that you can customize and personalize this die set for whomever may be receiving this card. There is lots of, only a few pieces, but lots of different ways that you can use it. So first and foremost, there are two base pieces. There is this fun little angled base piece that has etched lines down the center here to help you line up the front panel. These angled corners on the side can go this way, or they can go this way. So the choice is absolutely yours. And that's what that looks like when it's cut out. And then there is a front panel. So every purse you make, you're going to start with these two pieces, and those are the foundation of your purse. When you're attaching the rectangle piece, that front panel piece with the stitch edging, you want it to be vertical, not horizontal. If you're horizontal, it's going to overlap kind of in a funny way and doesn't quite match the height. So always make sure that you've got that piece vertical when you are attaching it. One way that you can personalize this is there are 3 different closures. And actually, as I was playing, depending on how creative you get, you can change these enclosures to have even more than 3 combinations. There is this large, almost rectangular flap. There is this medium-sized flap that has this nice little scalloped piece on the bottom. And then there is a strap closure. All of these have stitched edging and look absolutely stunning. This strap closure also has a little arched and etched line, embossed line to help you put the buckle into place. To go along with this, we do have 4 pieces of what I call hardware. So there is a straight bar that can go across the top of your purse. There is a little, what I call a snap closure, like so. And there is your little buckle. So there is a long one and a short one. And I'll show you how those all go together. And then there are these cute little charms. I call them charms. So they're just little extra accents that can go onto the purse in different ways. So let's line these up here. So there's this, there's this. Those are our 2 flaps. And then we have our strap. And then our hardware, which I've done in a darker color. You could do metallics. So many fun ways to use this. There's our little buckle. Here's your two options. So one buckle goes with the strap. The other buckle goes with, actually, so this goes over here. And this little one can go here. But you can mix and match. You can have lots of fun. And these little charms are super cute. I'll give you some tips in just a few minutes on how to attach those because they're a little bit tricky, but they're fun and they really finish off these purses in a fun way. The last way that you can customize this is with your strap or handle. So there is a large shoulder strap as well as the small handheld strap. So there is your shoulder strap. Here is your handle. Put that there. And I've cut those out of a medium pink to show you the contrast. So when you see my samples, there's tons and tons of different ways that you can mix and match, bring in embossing folders, bring in pattern paper, ink, stencil, or just do it. These are beautiful just with the solid color cardstock as well. So let's put the dies away and take a look at how this comes together. Okay, let's put one of these purses together. I'm not going to put together three options. You can see that there are all kinds of different ways that you could mix and match these different flat pieces and hardware pieces. But I think what I'm going to do is I am going to do this larger flap here, and I'm going to mix in a few other pieces as well. These ones I'll just put off to the side, and when I show you my samples, you'll see how those all come together. And then we've got our two handles as well. So I always start obviously with my base. This rectangle is going to get layered on top of that angled piece. And as I said, don't forget to keep that upright and vertical. There are those two etch lines that'll help you nest that into place. Your little corners may stick out just a little bit, but as long as that bottom is aligned, you will be fine. Next, I'm going to take my flap and I'm going to attach it, aligning the top edges. Just like so. And then this time I am going to embellish it both with that top bar as well as that clasp, just to give it a different look. There we go. This one's going to come down just like that, right along the bottom edge of that pink stitched piece. I guess they're all pink, but that light pink piece. And it almost goes edge to edge, so it should be pretty easy to center that. My little charms are going to go last, so next up is the handle. And when this all nests together, that little handle is going to go right inside of the larger handle. So I always like to do the small handle first. And just like on the suitcase, there are some little balls here that help you target your glue so you don't get too much. And this is going to go behind your purse. Let's flip it over. And I'm just going to eyeball it edge to edge there. And just keep that centered. Again, it's the back, so nobody's going to see it if you're a little bit off or if you need to wiggle. The next thing I'm going to do is with this piece here, I like to just lie it flat. I'm going to put glue on the two balls, and I'm going to put a little bit of glue in this centerpiece because our purse base is going to overlap that handle. So just a little bit of glue, a little bit down here, and then I can flip this over and those balls are really going to go right in the corners of that purse. So that's the easiest way I find to put that together. When you flip it over to the back, yeah, this one's overlapping, but again, nobody's going to see the back, so it's all working out. Okay, now for the trickiest part of this purse, and it's really not that tricky, but there is a little bit of a trick. So our little charms here, you can see that they are mirror images of each other. They both come in and meet in the center. So what I like to do, and the reason why I did not use liner sheet on this guy, even though he's very delicate, is that you want to put glue behind the square, but glue on top of that little ball. So it is a little bit tricky. You have to be a little bit careful. Let me move it here. There we go. So just a tiny smidgen of glue. Almost did that wrong. Flip it over. Put a little bit of glue on that ball. So that ball is going to go behind. The square is going to go on top. Wiggle it into place. And there you go. And we'll do the same for the other side, and then our purse will be done. So again, holding it kind of at the top makes it easy to flip things around. A little bit of glue on that ball. And wiggle it into place. So on the back, you've got the balls attaching to your handle, and on the front, you have it on your base. So there you go. Now, like I said, lots and lots of options to customize. I had so much fun with this one. Start with this one here, where I've used a little bit of pattern paper and then pulled colors from the pattern paper to embellish and choose my colors for the base of the purse. Added some little flowers. Life is Short by the Purse. That's also part of that Keep Calm sentiment set from Hero Arts. This one here, I've just kept it plain, but alternated the colors, so you can see that you've got variety there. Then I like to dig out my tiny pattern embossing folders, create more of that fabric kind of look. And again, I used a black metallic paper from the Treasure cardstock to give it a nice little finish. And here I didn't use the charms. So and this one I didn't use the charms either. So you can mix and match and use the pieces however you see fit. Lastly, this is a super classy one, and this is where I said there are way more options that you can use these pieces. I put the handle down instead of putting the handle up. I put the clasp up instead of putting it down. I've got another little embossing folder in here, and I made it a shaker. So many different ways you can customize, you can personalize, choose your colors for the recipient, and have so much fun creating with it. While we're here, let me bring out the Hero Arts stamp sets that coordinates with the rolling tote and the the designer purse. This is the Keep Calm sentiments. And like I said, I'm so thrilled that this is a beautiful collaboration between Spellbinders and Hero Arts, and it just means a lot that both of the brands came together for this collection. So we've got Let Me Help You Carry That, Friends Help Friends Keep It Light. We've got Life is Short by the Purse, Life is Short by the Craft Supplies, Unpack and Unwind, We Can Carry Anything Together, This Is How We Roll, love that with the rolling tote, Let's Unpack It. I think all of us can agree crafting is cheaper than therapy. I'll Help You Carry On, and Keep Calm and Craft On. Love the different mix of fonts, and it really helps you create some different looks. And because they are in separate components of those sentiments, you can mix and match the sentiments just like you mixed and match your pieces, and change up your colors as well. The last piece of this collection is the Awareness Ribbon and Sentiments. This is another stamp and die set, and to me, nothing is more iconic in terms of expressing encouragement, dedication, good wishes than the Awareness Ribbon. Josie did an amazing job designing this die set, and it comes in really just 3 simple pieces. Actually, there's 5, but they work together, so you'll see what I mean when this all comes together. This little piece here is simply the connector piece that holds the ribbon together. And then we have the 2 arms of the ribbon that go together like so. So when they come together, there are etched lines on the connector piece to show you where it goes, and they will cross to make your ribbon. But we didn't stop there. There is also a insert for each one of the arms. One is for the word hope. The other is for the word strength. So you can insert this when you are die cutting to have this sentiment etched right into the paper and create a beautiful message. Now you can use one, you can use the other, or you can use them both together to create one very uniform icon for your project. So there is hope, there is strength, and there is the connector piece. And I chose green for my samples and a lot of the samples that I created for this collection, because green is the awareness ribbon color for mental health awareness. And because that's really the messaging I want to get across with this collection, and to help others, help yourself, take care of your mental health, that green was a very important color for me. So let me just tuck these aside and we will go ahead. This is so easy to put together. I don't even need to put those dies away. We're going to start with the connector piece. And the way this overlaps, if you are using both sentiments together, you want strength to go on top because it is a little bit longer and covers the center. So we're going to start by just attaching hope first. So what I do is I take my little etched edge here, I put my glue in my little segment, and then I attach that left arm into place. Then I'm simply going to repeat for the other side, attach strength into place, and then I can just tuck a little bit of glue underneath in the center to hold that ribbon together. So easy, but so impactful, and I can see us using this in so many different ways. Now that's not the only part of this particular set. There is also a wonderful, wonderful stamp set with so many different options of sentiment. And it was so hard to choose, and you've got so many different options to send these messages of encouragement. There's sending hope, courage, and strength. Sending courage wrapped in a card. To the warrior in you, keep fighting. You are never alone on this path. There is strength in your smile. Every step forward is a victory. We'll fight this together. Resilience lives in you. It's okay to take it one breath at a time. Wishing you moments of calm. Bravery looks a lot like you. Courage shows up in every step you take, sending you love and hope as you face each day. Even small steps are brave ones. You got this. So simple, but so impactful. The last thing that's on this stamp set is a tiny ribbon that you can stamp it to either go along with this one here, or what I did is I used the large circle die from the suitcase to create a suitcase sticker with the ribbon. So this is perfectly sized to fit on all of these other components. If you don't want to use it like that, you can stamp it and fussy cut it, and it does fit beautifully with either the purse or with your rolling tote. So you can attach that to any of the other pieces in the collection and tie it all together. So last round of samples. Here I've got the sentiment, courage shows in every step you take. You got this. Those green gems just add some extra pizzazz to it. Get this. This one I used you got this in a few different places. We'll fight this together, and a nice kind of stenciled background to really support that. Here I've changed up my color to be a pink ribbon, and you can choose any color of ribbon that is appropriate for whatever cause you're messaging. Added some florals. And last but not least, if you don't want to use the die or any of the dies, you can just use the stamp set and the sentiments on its own. And that is the Awareness Ribbon and Sentiments stamp and die set. We all have baggage. That is just a fact of life. But hopefully through this collection, you will remember that you don't have to face this alone. And your friends don't have to face this alone because they have you. I hope you get some joy and some relaxation and some connection with your friends by using the We All Have Baggage collection. Thank you so much for watching.